All right. Boom, boom, boom. Tell your friends we're live now. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Betterment Broadcast. I am your host, Brother Raven. Let's get you the fantastic PDF that we all need to see. Let's see. So, hold on. There you go. All right. So, welcome to the Black Bear Broadcast. This is your 239th. That's a lot. Not bad episode. So that's the attempts we have done to unite the community in practicing black betterment. That's right. That's what we're doing. So yeah, what is that? Present or invite? Don't know what that means. Cool. All right. So let's go through as we always start. That's nice. That's a nice picture. Let's go through the beginning. So don't forget to follow Black Betterment on Instagram. Black Betterment Building, blah, 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 good stuff. Anyway, so here we go. The triple tragedy. So, yeah, white supremacy, anti-black racism, and the Martha. These triple tragedies have caused the double dilemma, which are we are despised and we're disorganized. We're going to go over that today. Everything we cover usually tackles these issues anyway. So the single solution to that is Black Betterment, a lifestyle of black people helping black people on black issues. That's right. This broadcast promotes Black Betterment. This is a public broadcast for the black community, the Sun people, the ABC community, the African community, all the terms you want to use. And it's basically for our community to come together and find solutions, really. And that's what it is. I am merely the host, but people can come and host it themselves, or they can come and have a topic or whatever it is, or even not. You don't have to come and speak. You can present things you want us to talk about, and I'm sure we'll get around to doing it. That's right, and hopefully we can influence others to do the same thing. Set up scenarios and situations where black people are trying to help black people. Boom, 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 boom. All right. So, uh, we've sent the link out, so people are always welcome to jump in. But we do ask when you jump in, please don't forget the 4D values, which are discipline, dedication, dignity, and discernment. We've been saying it for almost almost 200 episodes now, the same thing. So don't forget that. Very important. And you can use those 4D values out in the real world because sometimes, as we're going to unpack now with the back of the mind stuff, many brothers and sisters have been trained in the back of the mind to maybe be hostile towards beneficial things or to ideas that work in the collective best interest of the people. So sometimes you want to make sure that when you approach people, you use discipline, dedication, dignity, and discernment to not raise anxiety. That's right. Oh, yeah. Okay. Fantastic. So ways we could do that, maybe not use any kind of derogatory language, but use more descriptive language. Sometimes it actually is more shocking, but it's less anxiety making. So that, if you could do that, that would be fantastic. What are the two topics? Well, here they are. They are the unknown self-hate choices. And so we discuss why we can't always trust the reasons black people give for motivations behind actions. No words there, no full stop or any kind of comment. Excellent. And then the second one is the best black community in the world. We discuss what is the most ideal um, black community in the world. So one thing we're going to try to do now, I recommend, is because we get two topics a week. I think because sometimes it's just random topics or people suggest topics. Uh, what I'm going to try to do is make sure that one is more uplifting, I guess, and one is more concern that needs to be remembered or fixed. So that way, we don't get an overload of maybe like negativity to an extent. Maybe I don't know. So that's the idea. So we've got two ones now, and obviously any things you want to cover, you can let us know. No. Okay, so what should we start with? Let's start with the best community. Should, I mean, I'm trying to think of. Oh no, how we normally start is by looking at videos. Sorry, I forget. I'm obviously losing my mind. And we give you the black Betterment perspective. So before we start the topics, we look at random videos that has come in on the interweb, and we just give us the black Betterment perspective. I've only got like three or four maybe, and I'm not covering black people. That's interesting. That's interesting, man. I swear we covered this before, but I'll do it again. So this is something.
The original inhabitants of South Africa.
So basically, what it is obviously. I found out I was actually speaking to a South African woman today. I think there's a. I was asking her how to say numbers in Zulu. I remember, but she was she. I think that they've got the people who ring up on normally companies go to India to have the what do they call it the phone service stuff, but I've noticed a lot is from South Africa, which is cool. Um, but yeah, no. So this is taking place in South Africa. In South Africa, they split people down to Zulu, Coloured, Khoisan, and Indian and Afrikaan, white, and Boers and this kind of stuff. I think, and this is what we're saying, that playing both sides of the fence and all this kind of stuff. Obviously, the African community are saying, we're the original community, we want our land back, and we don't want to take it. So one of the countermeasures is obviously the Afrikaans or the Europeans, where they were saying, well, actually, it wasn't yours to begin with. Black people, we've split them now into Khoisan and Zulu, and actually it was the Khoisan that was in the area longer than the Zulu. So, and then, as you know, the Zulu have a high population. The Khoisan, unfortunately, is much more smaller. So this seems to be a technique that they do. Let's just see the techniques as they do.
Okay. Which, in fact, they're realizing that now. When they claimed that they owned all the land, the original inhabitants, of whom there are not many left, said, excuse me, no, we were the original inhabitants. You guys were migrants here as well, which they were. Okay, so, the original inhabitants of southern Africa are called the Khoisan. In the west, the Bushmen are Khoisan. Hottentots are Khoisan. But you can't use those words anymore. You now have to call them Khoisan. Okay? All right. Now, and they were the inhabitants of the whole of southern Africa. So the whole of South Africa at one stage were Khoisan. The black people originated in what is now Cameroon.
See, so that's the game they play. The Zulu, the black nations, the dark skinned people were there. First of all, when they came and took over, they were mistreating the Coloureds, the Khoisan, and the black or the Zulu. No, let's say Zulu, right? And then the Zulu and Khoisan would have been either including black collectively, or the Khoisan would have been put in coloured. But all of them are Afro descent, black people who have ancestry to the landmass of Africa. Well, the Boers obviously came from Europe, and when they came there, they never came there to like share and care. They came there to tear and take and all that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, so just giving the black man perspective of how to watch out for the playing both sides of the fences and the new modern revision that works in no one else's best interest. Big up Ebony, join us today. Good to see you in. What else we got? Is it what's this one? Viral video of who? Oh yeah, this was interesting. I saw this.
Positions already.
It says Estonian woman claims Kenyans are racist towards their own.
We're putting hand to heart. Those jobs I got.
Matter of fact, this is actually part of the topic, so I'll sorry about that. The thing is, everything is always somehow connected anyway. So it's like I gotta be very careful with the stuff I pick. So they play that towards. This case was going on in America. This is the next one.
Beginning has continued to display.
So this
his self-defense claim.
There was an issue in America. Carmelo Anthony, he was in some kind of sport event, and I think he was allegedly sitting in a seat that wasn't his team or he's something like this. And a European or American white person was in I think asked him to move it or something like that. And I think it got physical, and Camilo Anthony allegedly stabbed him. He was claiming self-defense. He feared for his life and this kind of stuff. So we're just hearing how it unpacks.
And I believe that in America, I always tell this, and I'm just going to speak truth to power in this situation. It is crazy that America tells us to accept the self-defense claim of George Zimmerman, Kyle Rittenhouse, and so many other people. But when the shoe is on the other foot, that claim is absurd. And I just got to call a spade a spade. No matter what my personal views of a case may be, it is quite contradicting for America to come back and say, oh, Cal Rittenhouse can have it, George Zimmerman can have it, all of these individuals that don't look like the color of my skin can't have it. In the state of Texas, we live in a state where yet you can walk around with the permitless carry, you can walk around with a brass knuckles, you can walk around with a knife, you can walk around with all these things. AK-47 in the state of Texas. And then as soon as you see a black person exercise those rights, we now have a problem. And that's not me spitting hate or race or bigotry. That's the facts.
Yeah, why is my thing not? I'm just going to change my sound. Yeah, so let me put that in. Probably fix that. What was I saying? Yeah, so this is they're showing that when black people find themselves in similar situations to, I guess, white people in America when it comes to self-defense and this kind of stuff, it might not be the same kind of story. So this is, I think he's being held at the moment. Yeah, we'll see what happens if as time unfolds with that case. But obviously, people dying, we don't want that, but we definitely want to unpack, because with America, it is usually race driven, unfortunately. So we'll be following it. What else we got? Let's see. Anything else mixing up? What is that? Oh, that's Europe racism. No, I won't play that. What else we got? No, that's technically also racism, really. What has been done to? It's good to see this. What? Oh, please.
Brain black people around the world, long before they even left Africa, we are still suffering from that legacy of colonization, the legacy of slavery, where the people in power, they themselves don't believe they can do it. We still have leaders who believe you can't make it unless you're working with white people. We have individuals who think only something brought in by white people is what's likely to succeed. With that kind of mentality, it is a very difficult battle. Our battle to succeed, to unite as the African continent, it is a battle of the mind. And each and every African must realize that we are defeated where it matters the most, which is the mind. Brainwashed to the core. Brainwashed to not believe in ourselves and what we can do as individuals. I think that what was done.
Yeah, this is I mean, technically that's connected kind of to the topic, but I'll play it now. Yeah. So, and this is an interesting thing, and she's talking about, the sister's talking about, there's leaders who are in charge who don't even believe that they have the ability to build up, themselves and in isolation, and that without including Europeans and stuff. And that that's a historical thing that we find everywhere, unfortunately. And it's interesting because the concept of black betterment is a solution to that, because you have to work with black people. It's only tracking black on black constructability, right? So that is why these conversations won't exist. Now, where we had one or two guests on this show, wonderful guests. And I remember, they're very new to the concept of black people working with black people. So when I was suggesting it, the first thing they would say is, yeah, but what if we were to include Europeans or white people or whatever? And that became a big fixation on them, and they were almost high anxiety talking about it. And I said, well, we don't really track that, And I'm saying that, for us, it's not about whether we should help or shouldn't help, whatever. It's the mindset, the mindset before we start, you see. So who knows? Maybe black people come together. Maybe every single facet of everything we ever want to do has to be done by someone outside the community. Let's just pretend that's the case, right? But still, it's important that the group themselves want change, as in they want to be able to be self-sustaining and show self-determination. You see, so even if it's impossible for a multitude of reasons, the mindset is like, okay, well, we're going to take it as far as we can. Then we're going to learn and bounce on ourselves. And unfortunately, when we talk to many brothers and sisters, that's not where they're at. You see, they're like, well, we need to help everyone. They're my friends, and love and this kind of stuff, right? Universal, all in together now, rainbow and all that stuff. So, yeah, this is the thing. It's like the mind. You see, and that's where when you're dealing with our community, it's the mind, and you can really tell immediately when you talk about independence and the value of it. It's the all together now, all that kind of stuff, and that's already showing you the mindset. And this is why we talk about the back of the mind training. Unfortunately, we say that the triple tragedy, the white supremacy, anti-black racism, and the Ma'afa. These massive things have really caused a psychological meltdown of almost every single black person on a percentage, to the point where it's very difficult to live in a world that has the history it has and not self-eternalize certain challenges or certain beliefs. Um, and it's really quite deep. But Black Batman comes as a remedy for that, and that's why we know it. Even though might have one viewer or a million viewer, it's the same. You see, it's we are a community, and we're coming together. It is no competition. It's a seed that's growing, and the idea is to train black people in a lifestyle to fix black issues. Sounds very simple, doesn't it? Aha. Well, let's make it simple. Okay, so that's the video. That might be. I'm assuming that's all the videos. So we're going to start with the first topic. So let's you have to get rid of it, don't you? So how did you click on that? Oh, you press remove. There you go. Dum, 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 and then you press that one. There you go. Unknown self-hate choices. Let's go with the best black community in the world. We discuss what is the most ideal black community in the world. So if for those listening in the future time and now, if you want to say what community you reckon might be the most ideal, so you're the best, let us know. Let's go to this one. Big up the contributors who sent this video.
Is the happiest black country. Now, when I'm referring to a black country, I'm talking about a country whose population has more than 50% of people with black African ancestry. So every year, Oxford University release a World Happiness Report, and then they rank 142 countries according to how happy they are. They take around 1,000 people from each country and they survey them, and they ask a whole number of different things, but they look at some key factors, and 4 of those things are GDP per capita, life expectancy, how free people are to make decisions for themselves, and social support. So the top 5 countries were all Scandinavian countries. Now, the first black country was Jamaica, coming in at 73, which I was quite surprised at. According to this report, the bottom 50 countries in majority were African countries. The first African country that came in was South Africa. Sometime with these surveys, you don't know who they're asking, how they're measuring, and you don't know if the data is reliable. So I wanted to look at what I might consider the happiest black country if we looked at all those things in a general sense. First thing I wanted to look at was which black country has the highest GDP per capita. And that's just looking at which country has the most money for each individual to be able to take care of their everyday needs. So it came up with the Bahamas as being number 1. Then it was followed by the Seychelles with about $20,000 per person. The next thing I wanted to look at was where is the most democratic black country? And it came up with Botswana and Barbados. Now, the type of things they're looking at is what country has the most free and fair elections, what country has the most stability and peace, what country adheres to human rights legislation. Next thing I wanted to look at is which black country has the most social values, and it came up with Rwanda. Now, Rwanda has a concept called umuganda. Now, umuganda is basically community service. So in Rwanda, every last Saturday of the month, everybody comes together in the community and they clean the community. They do a number of tasks, something that's really embedded into the culture. And there is an expectation for everybody to play their part. I wanted to look at which black country had the highest life expectancy. And obviously when we're talking about life expectancy, nutrition, we're talking about clean water. So it came up as Martinique and Barbados being the highest, with life expectancy being 80 plus, followed by the Seychelles. So if we were to just go by the kind of data that's available to us without talking to local people as individuals, we might say that the happiest black country is Barbados, and that's followed by the Seychelles, then followed by Rwanda.
All right, so the sister says that Barbados, the Seychelles, and Rwanda. I've only been to one of them. We'd like to go to the others. Quite expensive though, I think. I haven't got. I think I did actually download. I think I downloaded a video of a lady walking in the Barbados. Let's see. I just put it in the background. Mute that, please, if I get a music strike, as I tend to get. So there's a lady walking in Barbados. Looks nice to see. So yeah, community in the Barbados saying that this might be the happiest place for Black people to live. So I guess the take from that could be, if that's the case, find out what is going on in there. Find out how the community operate and the things they do. This is did mention, I think in Rwanda, is it? She said the name. I should remember it. It was a Swahili word. I should remember that really. Where the community come together to actually, they fix, they clean up the streets and this kind of stuff. Sounds good. Like I said, I remember Frances Cress-Welsky, and when I used to see her many years ago, when she was giving advice to Black communities. The one thing she always used to stress, she stressed a lot, but one thing that she kept repeating was, don't throw rubbish and stuff in the area you live. In fact, it's overlooked stuff. I grew up in England, back in the days. Um, I remember London was very messy. And I thought that's how it was. And obviously they did something to. I remember they came to our school and showed us about cleaning up and the importance of whatever. But yeah, that's important. Not trashing your environment is important. Big up, brother Dominic, in the house. Good evening. Well done for last week's contribution. Amazing. Um, so we're looking at a video in Barbados. We were looking at what is the happiest or the best or the most ideal, I guess, right there. And Barbados, the sister said, is a good option. Seychelles and Rwanda. I've always, the funny thing is, you know, it, we always love the Caribbean, we love Africa, we love Black people worldwide. But obviously, when we start looking at data and stats, and some of it could be obviously fabricated because of the way things are done, but most of it probably isn't. And that is looking at, you tend to find that there is much development needed in so many of the countries. So most kind of crafts and stuff you do, you always find the the um, the Black countries at the bottom. Funny enough, I was complaining about my internet, which is terrible, by the way. And I rang up those providers, or they rang me up or whatever. And they took me to, first it was India. India is who they were dealing with the technical stuff. I explained to him all the technical issues that's wrong with the net around this area. I've said it many times, but I keep saying it. And then when it comes to like the refunds and the complaints, where they send me to South Africa, it's always good to talk to the South Africans as well. As good. I'm happy that and funny, every time I talk to a South African, I might mention some Zulu words, and then we start conversation. It's just interesting. It's cool. But what I was saying is, I was actually trying to explain how slow and messed up my internet is. So I was looking at England's the average speed, which I think is 140 megabytes or something. And I think England is top, whatever. But I was looking at the bottom of the slowest places, and obviously the slowest internet is in Black nations and stuff. Not that you need to have super fast internet, but every time I look on stats, it shows that there's much development that needs to be done. And I think the sister was also saying her stats, similar thing in the metrics she was looking at, whatever. So that's why Black Batman is important. So having your black minded, if you come from a country and there's hardship, whatever, being part of the process to send back and go do stuff is very important. I didn't expect Barbados to look like this. How did you expect it to look like? I mean, when I went, I was mainly more. Well, I went everywhere to be honest, but this is. I don't know where the sister is at. I don't know the play. The funny thing is, I'm looking at some of the bills. I do feel like I've passed some of these before when I was there, but I'm probably just saying that because I'm seeing it now, isn't it? But this is for those who are tuning in. This is a sister walking down in Barbados, just looking at the vibe and the people and that. And apparently it's one of the best places if you're Black to live. Just GDP, happiness, opportunity, voting, and less oppression, and I guess crime and stuff like that. This I've known that I think Barbados, Bahamas, trying to think of some other places. I was also looking up the database of. Let me see if I can find that now. Like, who has the highest Black population? Black population. So people of African ancestry, a Black population. I didn't say UK. A world Black population. Africa. Let's see if it gives me that. I don't know. Oh, there we go. African. I mean, I'm African. Let's see, African descendants. The African diaspora. That's what I show you. All right. So, which was I'm trying to think of. There we go. I think is it. So yeah, I was looking up. I remember it from the part that the places with the highest. There's obviously the people with the highest number, but when you say the highest number in the diaspora, because Africa's got a lot, they always give it to Brazil because Brazil, even though yeah, from Afro descendants is quite high and there's a big population anyway. But when you do a percentage within the country, that's when some of the small islands start winning. So apparently, Saint Kitts and Saint Nevis has a 98% black population. Next is Dominica, big up Dominica. That's my family, half the family from. They've got a 96% black rate. Then it was Haiti with 95%, Antigua and Barbuda, I'm saying that wrong, 95%. Then Jamaica with 92.1%. Then Grenada with 91%. Then the Bahamas with 90%, 90.6. So obviously the Caribbeans, you would think that. But then this in the diaspora, obviously in Africa, there's no point in including them because, boom, 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 right? Take over. But from Cuba, 35%, I'm looking at. Guyana has a what? Is that right? A 36% black. I have to check that. I mean, okay. Really? Didn't know that. Yeah. All right. Go check that one out. There you go. But yeah, so this is Barbados. If you just look at the screen, let's quickly now look at what the sister said. The second best places, and I think there's a lot of where's that? Did I even name it properly? Probably not knowing me. Did I even save it? Probably not knowing me. I would have done it right. I'm just check. Hold on. Let me find if I can find it. No, it's not that one. Maybe it didn't download. Okay, shame on me. Let's see. Nah, didn't download. Oh well, at least we got the Barbados one again. Really? Didn't download. Oh, what are you gonna do? You can carry on watching that. Well, yeah. So, what, I was gonna say one more thing. Seychelles. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I would like to go to some of the African countries that are similar to the Caribbean countries that are like small islands, have a similar kind of history. Be interested to see if like the same thing happens on the continent than in the diaspora, I guess. But I think the small islands would be Seychelles. Uh, I'm going to pronounce it wrong. Prince and Tomé. Thomas. I'm a bad guy, was it? But it's actually in Portuguese. Something like Saint Thomas and Prince or so. Shame on me twice. I should know every single African country by head. Sao Tome and Principe. I'm pronouncing that wrong, but shame on me. Either or, I should be flogged. Yeah. And what's the other one? There's one more island, not the Comoros or whatever. There's another island, the Comoros, whatever it's called. What's that other island? Seychelles. Oh, Cape Verde. Cape Verde's another. There you go. It'll be interesting to see how they are. Look at Barbados now. They say it's the best place, most happiest black nation in the world. So just take a look at, people walking down. Looks good to see the brothers and sisters walking down. All that good stuff. All right. So if, let us know, where do you think other amazing, good places of high black population are to live? That's your task. That's your homework task. But now we're going to go to the second topic. So let's go there. Okay, we got to stop that. This woman's walking a long time. All right. This one now is very important. This is now the concern one. The unknown self-hate choices. We discuss why we can't always trust the reasons black people give for motivations behind actions. Very important, this stuff. So that's the thing. I mean, and you don't want to cause anxiety, but the thing is, sometimes the reason someone tell you why to do something isn't really. It might be from a historical standpoint or from a psychological standpoint, and understanding both is important. And we try to minimize anxiety when we talk about it. But this one, let's see if I can find it. So this came from me seeing this post. I think I downloaded it. I hope I did. I'll be yeah, this one. So let's have a sneak peek on the deep.
convo obviously was made when you was bleaching and
Yes.
all of this. Now that's not your thing anymore.
No. Fully melanated.
Have you ever had a chance to look at what you was going through and why you wanted to do that?
I mean, in hindsight, I think it definitely had to do with self-love. But on the other hand, while I was doing it, my mind wasn't telling me that. My mind was telling me, oh, I'm doing this to show my tattoos because I got a lot of tattoos, blah, blah, blah. But looking back, I think it was just, as a black man, sometimes you have those issues. Even with black women, the hair, like, if Laura cut her hair, she could sell it to a black woman right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we have that issue. We like light skin and...
White supremacy has done the job.
You know what I mean? So, yeah. I would never bleach again, though.
So obviously this, and that's good that the brother came to his senses and we wish him well. But yeah, obviously I think I might have had some. Did I download any of them? Probably not. That's what I did. Of him. Let me just check if I downloaded. I didn't put it in my folder. Downloads. Dun, 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 dun. Nope, didn't. All right, what are you gonna do about it? Yeah. So, but I think I tried to download him talking about it, but didn't find it. But let's also look at another one that's slightly connected to what we're saying.
Two positions already where putting hand to heart, those jobs I got because of my skin.
Oh.
Because, and very often when I go to Estonia or any other places, people ask me, is Kenya racist? And I tell them, yes, it is. And Kenya is racist because it discriminates against its own. And I am so very aware that I am privileged. I am so aware that I get favors. I'm so aware that there are things I was able to achieve simply because of the color of my skin.
And here's the thing that you're saying. It's not by people with the same skin color as you.
No.
It is Kenyans, blacks,
Yes.
being prejudiced to their own.
Yes.
And choosing somebody else because in their minds, they believe that person is better because of their skin color.
Correct.
That is the height of the effect of colonialism.
Absolutely.
That is the epitome of it, where you think you're lesser than other people. You yourself believe somebody else is better on no other basis but on the skin color.
Yes.
Big up, Mixie. I think I'm saying that right.
Wow.
And so I was clearly aware that I was not the best candidate for that position. I just knew it's because they need somebody who looks like me.
Your Majesties, that is it. And I am happy that we are having conversations like this again so that we can rewind, maybe retie those knots in our brains to see clearly. And the painful thing? A lot of Africans will see this and will still get, that doesn't matter. Oh, she's just saying that. Oh, Abigail is racist. Abigail don't like white people. A lot of Africans will still feel this way. They will still not understand. You heard from her. There were positions she was given that deep within herself, she know that she do not worth this position. Deep within her, she feel it that this position I'm giving, I'm not worth it. These other people know this job better than I do. But they had to give her this position because they see that she is white. I hope you understand me. There were favors she were given that she do not deserve. But because of her skin color, she was given those favors.
Me and my partner went to Jamaica a few years ago. They treated me different, as in more welcoming, as I'm lighter skin color to my missus. Yep, we do know that, and obviously there's a bleacher thing going on. And we just looked at a video now there of the European lady saying, she went and was given jobs that she wasn't best qualified for. and she knew it was down to her skin. And what we're highlighting is obviously self-hate concepts, and that could present itself in whether someone wants to bleach themselves, how they present themselves, wanted to be around their own community, wanted to hide their own community, and that could happen whether you're on the diaspora or whether you're on the continent or in a maximum black community or a minimum. This is why we say about the back of the mind and how the back of the mind affects, and that's why black betterment as a lifestyle is important because you're teaching your children from young the importance of teamwork and community building and responsibility. And you have to use terms like, unfortunately, collectively, black people have not recovered from the Ma'afa, haven't recovered from neo-colonization, haven't recovered from white supremacy, haven't recovered from colonization, haven't recovered from enslavement, haven't recovered collectively. No. And that's important because if you don't have a conscious concept, whatever is will continue. Whatever is isn't in the collective best interest of black people. No, sir. So that's why we do this show. Or, we could be playing video games, or playing football, or watching something like this. But instead, we're here trying to make a difference, and that's important that you're here because you're part of history. Our own people need, even prefer lighter skinned people. Anyone that looks like them, they hate this as well. Yeah. So, and this is something that needs to be trained. Where once again, we are talking about things happening in the back of the mind, and we're tackling the topic. To join us, I have to remove this now. Remove that. This is new info. It's very crazy. The black community, unknown self-hate choices. We discuss why we can't always trust the reasons black people give for motivations behind actions. And what this actually comes from is most. You're going to see me talking to many people, especially maybe guests as well who jump on for whatever reason, and we have a conversation and you say things like well. Why have you done this? And they'll give you their reason, and in their mind, that really is the reason. But when you collate all the data, it doesn't add up. I think we did brother Michael Jackson as a case study, a really important case study, and obviously being famous, there's who you're around more and stuff. But we start seeing connect the dots, and we realize that you're having more of a European kind of like outlook on the world or representation of yourself. And this could be something that is carried from your childhood. To further iterate this and how I segue into the things I've been saying in the past is let's look at. So this is so remember the dog test is very important. So let's check this out. This is something that goes on.
Is the black doll? And which one is the white doll? Which doll is the pretty doll? Which doll is the nice doll? Which doll is the bad doll? Which doll is the nice doll? And which doll is the bad doll? And why is that doll pretty?
Because he's white and he has 2 eyes.
Which doll is the ugly doll? Why is that doll ugly?
Because he's black.
Which doll looks most like you?
Like me?
Yeah, which one looks like you?
And that one.
Okay.
That doll.
Okay, so and this was the dog test. So we'll show the history of this and why it's quite important because it's a good further explainer of what things done. I think, and I was saying, regardless of where it's done, historically, what time, the results seem to be the same. So, the dog test is a psychological experiment designed in 1940s in USA to test the degree of marginalization felt by African American children caused by prejudice, discrimination, and racial segregation. Let's just see. Okay, that's because I think it's in Spanish, so I'm gonna have to read it. Yeah, and Vibes influence a lot of people to bleach their skin. I hope he can influence just as many to stop bleaching them. We got Ebbs. We have recreated it. So this is Italian children, is that right? Is this? I didn't know this. Is this Italian? So this is in Italy. So yeah, I wanted to get all the videos because there's Spanish, there's Italy, there's Mexico, there's America, there's There's some places. There's even like Asia.
Quale bambola è
Which is the white doll?
bianca?
Right, okay, there you go. The kid looks like Miles Davis a bit.
Quale bambola è
Which is the
nera?
black doll?
Quale delle due
Which
è
doll is
bella?
pretty?
Questa.
This one.
Qual è quella bella? Qual è quella brutta?
Which is ugly? They all point to the black one.
E qual è quella buona?
Which one is a nice doll? The white one.
Quale è
The
cattiva?
black one.
Qual è buona?
Which is a good one? They're pointing at the white one. This is Italian schools.
Perché è buona?
Which is the good one?
Perché ha gli occhi celesti.
Because she has blue eyes, she's good.
Quale è
Which is
cattiva?
the bad one? Black one.
Perché è cattiva?
Why is this doll bad?
Perché tutto
Because he's all black.
nero.
Right.
E qual è la
And which doll looks like
bambola
you?
che ti somiglia di più?
All the kids are pointing to the one that's close to the skin tone. All right, cool. There you go. And let us show you. I think I actually have the video of the people who started that historically. Where is it? I think about this one.
Dolls. They are every young girl's companion
Might be a bit quiet. You might have to turn up at your end.
and friend. But dolls can represent much more in a youngster's life. In 1939, psychologist Dr. Kenneth Clark and his wife, the late Mamie Phipps Clark, used dolls to gauge ego and self-esteem in young black children. After asking the children questions about white and black dolls, the results shocked both the Clarks and the nation.
We found that black children knew that they were different, that they had lower status. They internalized in the development of their own self-image these negative stereotypes of the society, and the majority, 2 out of 3 of the children, rejected the brown dolls as being negative and bad, etc.
Here, Sir Jay, you can have Nancy. It's a present. Mommy just got it for me. I want that one. Frida's my friend. I've had her all my life. Mommy! Mommy! Yes? She took my doll.
Sarah Jane, where are your manners? Now give it back.
I don't want the black one.
The disturbing thing was when we asked them, show me the doll that's most like you, they then had to identify with the doll that they had rejected and had a deep sense of their own inadequacy and inferiority at that time.
The findings of that study were dramatic enough to catch the attention of the United States Supreme Court. Their 1954 ruling striking down the separate but equal doctrine and ordering school desegregation was...
Those tuning in, we're discussing what's the term? The unknown self-hate choices. We discuss why we can't always trust the reasons black people give for motivations behind actions. This was spared by Vibes Cartel, a Jamaican music artist, saying he used to bleach and now he recognizes it as, forms of self-hate and wanting to be lesser than or more, wanting to distance himself from blackness. As time goes by, he's realized the error. But at the time, he didn't know this, and this is what you're going to find. I'm connecting this now to obviously showing the how this starts. It's hard to live in the world and not have an anti-black sentiment at some point, and also saying that this might inform our choices when it comes to picking partners, picking styles, picking who we want to work for, who want to work for us, pick who we want to associate, and obviously, ultimately, by being in black community, we're around black people, so we're gonna have an interaction. But ultimately, uh, you probably find that deep in the back of many minds, many brothers and sisters probably wouldn't want to take with you. So we're just looking at the history of that and why it's important that even though so obviously I'm known for championing constructive black man and constructive black woman, but it does cause tremendous anxiety because we live in the modern day where love is universal and stuff. I always say that when you say love has no color and universal, you've always got to remember that there is a campaign or a zeitgeist or something that goes on that you're born into, and this has influenced you every day. So when you think you're making a choice, you might not be. And this is the case study of which we push forward to demonstrate that. You see.
Influenced by the Clark's so-called doll study.
We did not do the study for the court. We did the study as psychologists. But the lawyers of the NAACP, when they read our reports and studies, said that they thought it was quite relevant to the case of segregation and the effect of segregation on personality.
Since the '54 decision, America has inched begrudgingly slow toward the implementation of desegregation orders. The first battlegrounds were the South.
So that's something, and how I would always recommend black people look at segregation, desegregation is you want to live in a land where you're given choice and you're not forced to do things where you don't want to do. You can't interact with who you want to interact with. However, uh, even I think there should be no law that stops you from interacting, but I think by choice, you should want to build up your communities and make sure you fix your communities before you go and fix others. And I think that's a crucial thing. As in, the willing you have freedom to freely choose to fix something that others have broken, and if you don't, it won't get fixed. So that's why we use the term group integration. So you integrate as a group. That's what most people do, but I think you find that the black community does it least. And that's why wherever you go to Canada, America, the UK, wherever, you find that black communities, you find there will be other community groups in the economic base selling to black people and black people enriching others while you won't see that dynamic vice versa. And then when you go to Africa, you see a different paradigm where, you know, uh, where others will come in and they might come from China somewhere, but they'll have sway and they'll have their own market, which others can't enter and those kind of stuff. So I think it's about time that black people have a ideology that makes from birth to death fix black issues, and that is what this show's about. Black Betterment Broadcast. We preach the lifestyle of black betterment. That's what it is. Yes, right.
Places like Little Rock, the University of Alabama, and Mississippi. Later, the struggle moved north to places like Boston. Clark blames lack of self-esteem for many of the problems in the schools today, from high dropout rates to violence.
It will take more than laws. It will take more than court decisions. Obviously, churches haven't been particularly effective in helping people to be more humane in their relationship with their fellow human beings. And my feeling is that we will need a wide and deep approach to educating in our children, not to be hostile and inhumane.
To those who say desegregation didn't work and that we were probably better off in segregated schools, how do you respond?
Desegregation doesn't work because we haven't tried it. We haven't really reorganized our schools away from racial lines. We haven't used our schools and educational institutions as way of educating human beings to work and to respect others.
What relevance do you see to the doll study today?
Well, what I see now is that we have to help white children as well as black children to develop a positive, healthy sense of their own being, the self-respect. Racism, as I see it, is indicative of a lack of self-respect among all the groups. You don't hate other human beings if you have a positive sense of your own being. Have those dolls there as the beginning of communicating a sense of humanity and decency.
It's a very good point. When I go out and speak, I say, about the black community fixing it. Obviously, you get a whole lot of people trying to shut it down, and then they go, it's about humans and stuff. And that's what you have to paint the picture that, you know, black people collectively are much lower than other groups because of the history that has happened. And to just leave it where it is, it will always be there. So, in order for you to help humanity, you have to help yourself to become equal with everyone else. So you have to have ways to put things in perspective, because if not, it'll be self-sabotaged by brothers and sisters who are kumbayarist, as well as non-black people who seem to have a defense mechanism about black people getting organized.
I found, by the way, that in our studies, we did have some children who had parents or other adults who helped them in this, and they did not reject the brown doll. It can be done. You can teach children to respect themselves as a basis for respecting them.
So the brother was shocked, but saying it can be that he's seen few examples where black kids love black kids. Though, unfortunately, for the studies I've seen throughout the world, it's just a similar kind of result. And this happened since was it the 40s, or it was or when it was until now. So that means the only thing you can do is, rather than talking to non-black people about how to treat black people, it's about how to talk to black people how to treat black people. I think that should always be your starting preference. Like, how do you fix your own house first, right? Create something that's long lasting, that can be passed down, and a cultural concept that almost demands the people practice it to take an interest in fixing community issues. And that's what we do here. So that's there. Now let me see the lady. Was that the last video? I doubt it. Was it? Doctor Spain told the doctor. So that one was this one. Was this? No, I won't watch that one. The power of the. Okay, cool. So let's go back. Oh, give me that. Yes, so we were talking about the unknown. So two topics we're talking today: the unknown self-hate choices. We discussed why we can't always trust the reasons black people give for motivations behind actions, and that's very important. I think, and I think that's why you have to have a smaller group really working kind of in isolation to change the social narrative, because as a people, you will always find a way to disguise, delineate, or move away from the reasons why you might do something. And I think the Vibes Cartel was a very. Let's listen to one more time. That was very 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 powerful.
Convo obviously was made when you was bleaching and
Yes.
all of this. Now that's not your thing anymore.
No. Fully melanated.
Have you ever had a chance to look at what you was going through and why you wanted to do that?
I mean, in hindsight, I think it definitely had to do with self-love. But on the other hand, while I was doing it, my mind wasn't telling me that. My mind was telling me, oh, I'm doing this to show my tattoos because
Yeah, and all that kind of stuff. So, and this is the thing, and naturally, when someone is popular, someone has famous songs, films, and sports, whatever, they can influence, and and I think that's another. I think the concept. That's why I'll be talking about this. Of course, I've been invited to some shows with them, but I'll be talking about that. It's important, as in the concept of templates. So ultimately, as a people, we're gonna do whatever. Like sometimes you're motivated to do what you want when you want. I think if we can have community templates where it's like, even though I'm not doing this, I would recommend this as a concept. So even though you want to bleach, you would strongly recommend people don't bleach for a numerous reason. Like you for whatever reason you want to bleach, but you do not promote bleaching as a community thing. It's more so you do it because of whatever reason. I think there should be a collection of things that we can agree that okay, well, as a community, this doesn't benefit us. But if you individually want to do it, so be it. But it's not a template that we're going to talk about. We won't give it airway. We won't give it like a segment of something to do because it doesn't work. And I think sometimes with the black community all over the world, whenever engage in error-prone behavior, um, we then try to benchmark, rebrand it, and start saying, "Oh, it's cool," and this is what's cool. This was trendy. It's okay, and this kind of stuff. And I think that's not beneficial. I think you should do what you want, you live your life, but then don't promote it. And when people ask you, go, well, it's not a template; it's just someone to do. But that's hard because then if someone thinks something they're doing is not correct or wrong or doesn't work in the best interest, then it makes them really question their choices, and that can cause anxiety. So that's why sometimes we have to rebrand it and go, it's actually good that I don't work, or I don't support my wife, or whatever it is. You come up with ideas that make those concepts sound, well seeming. So yeah, very important to do that. So that was the unknown self for choices. And then we start looking at how it's connected to the doll test. And I'm pushing forward personally that wherever you see black men, more particularly, get rich and famous and turn away from the black community or the black women, I say that these are the histories of it. Also, our fashion choices might be very Eurocentric. That this is a history of that, of how things are perceived and how people are treated when they have a certain kind of styling. So this needs to be reviewed. But once again, a smaller group working in unison to try to brand and campaign ways to improve. Because if you talk to everyone, they're gonna give you information that they think is correct today. But when time goes by, they'll know, like the brother there. You try to tell him many, he would say no, it's because I've got tattoos and he supports Marcus Garvey and all this kind of stuff. But then as time goes by, he realizes actually that's what I was doing, and that's what you find. And there's many people unfortunately who've passed away before that realization came, and we try to do case studies in this just to help us out, as we do. And the other topic was the best black community in the world, but more so the most happiest. And we discussed what is the most ideal black community in the world. And we listened to a sister talking about what she perceived to be by the data she's got. And she says that, Barbados, Barbados might be once, Seychelles, and Rwanda. So these are places. I know one that did come up, and I know they had a terrible recent past a couple decades ago. But it's good that they're bouncing back. But yeah, there you go. There you go. Now I have hit the 1 hour mark. Look at that. I've been waffling for 1 hour. Now, family, like I said, this is a community show. If anyone wishes to ask questions or jump in, you most certainly can. But if not, before I go, I was actually, where's that thing going? So naturally, we always try to give. I strongly recommend we go out and we promote Black Betterment. Give it that, please. Oh, there we go. Remove. Yeah, but and lead with love and positivity. But you will, like I said, if ever you do try to speak publicly about why Black people should work with Black people to fix Black issues, you might get pushback from Black people also. And this is once again connected to the back of the mind. People have been psychologically trained that if you do things in a group, it's bad. So remember, we have something called the bad intentions, and this is a diagram that I use, very helpful. And then there's non-black people and self-sabotaging black people. Being aware of black people deciding to practice black betterment can trigger a social systematic phenomenon known as bad, which is benefit, annihilate, delay, intentions. These intentions will go through 3 stages. So we'll go for 3 stages or skip through 3 stages, and that spells out the word bad. So BAD. So we've got benefit. So if ever you come to people, you might get a self-sabotaging black person or uh, anti-black, pundit, whatever. Once they hear they're going to want to benefit. I mean, they're going to want to whatever you're doing, whether it's the Betterment Broadcast or a bank or institution, they want other groups will want to benefit or be the benefactories of the ideas, actions, and institutions dedicated to black betterment. So whenever you talk about people aware of it, the first stage of a bad intention is well, it's I guess it's okay if you benefit. Now, the reason why black people have to work with black people, I know it sounds silly that I have to explain this, but we do because we haven't recovered from them after it seems. But the reason why is because of how history works. So other communities have have their own cultural pillars in place that make them look out for self. Black people who have been colonized, neo-colonized, enslaved, as well as going through Jim Crow and marketing and all the branding and what's the other one? Apartheid, all that kind of stuff. We've been trained as a collective to look out for others more than ourselves. You see, so that's why you need to have something to counter that. So that's what you're doing it for. Very important, very important. So that's bad intentions, as in the first thing. The second thing will be annihilate. If the person cannot make you use your benefit for someone else. Another example I was going to give as well was when you look in America and you look at things like DIE or DI, equality, diversity, and that kind of stuff, as well as what was it called before? My mind's gone blank. I'm very sleepy. Where it was minority rights. That's the one. And that came from black rights and then minority rights. When you look at that and you look at DI and this kind of stuff, you realize that white women and then gay men and then disabled people, they get first dibs over black people. And that's once again why you need to have your kind of isolation ideas, because whenever you integrate in ideas that's for everyone, black people find themselves at the bottom, so we need to work on that. And then obviously we're talking about bad intention. So A is annihilate. The second one, which is if black people come together, just try to shut it down. You can use me as a case study when I do public talking. You're going to see this the benefit or annihilate. And if they can't annihilate because they think, we can't do that, it's going to look bad on us or whatever, then they go for the D, and that's delay. And sometimes if you see me talking to people or they come on the show, what they do is they're trolling. They know the show's on for an hour, 2 hours. They'll just talk in circles so that way you don't actually get to find a conclusion. So this is the system or the framework of bad intentions that you guys can be aware of. So whenever you're trying to do work, you might spot, oh, this sounds like a bad intention. Are they trying to benefit? Or are they trying to annihilate it? Are they trying to delay it? Yeah, this person might be practicing bad intentions. So that's the lesson for today before we go. What's that? The error. That's a good idea as well. It's good. This document. We should really go through this document more. It's a really good document, and I need to really get it more smooth. So looking at it. Anyway, the family. That is 1 hour. I've been waffling for 1 hour. This is a Q&A show, so it's about others. So if anyone wants to jump on those questions, by all means you can. But I'm going to end the show now. If no, then we can start doing some of these videos. But it has been fantastic, and we want to give thanks to all the contributors outside here who send videos and keep us up to date and stuff. Very important what we're doing. And if you guys out there in the internet web want to have a topic, let me know. If you want to speak on a topic, let me know. But yeah, I think this month I'm doing a couple of shows with them, so I'll try to plug them as well as get footage for us to do case studies on. I've been invited to do a show. That's what happened about identity. That might be an interesting one. So I'll see what that's about. And then I'll come back and let you know. No. But anyway, I'm tired as I usually am. So family, I'm going to go sleep or do something else. But don't forget to tune in next week. You guys are fantastic. Remember, this is your show, community show. Whatever you want, we make it so. So right now I'm going to go. So blah. Anyway, take it easy, family. I'm gone. I'm sleeping. Bye. Have a good one. Hope you have a good weekend. Black Betterment to all Black Betterment. Ta-da.